Welcome to the Deception Tale Studio. You've probably experienced that instance when you uncover that the person you've long supported, shielded, and cherished has been deceiving you all along. Yes, I can relate. Yet, this isn't simply about unmasking an affair. It's about the aftermath when my former spouse, swollen with arrogance and self-assurance, decided to bring her paramour into a courtroom and use him against me. She underestimated her power. She hadn't fathomed that I had already discovered her lover's spouse, and this woman was set to be the crucial witness in my life. At that time, I was just another man who believed his marriage was strong. We had been together for 15 years, with Olivia being 11 and Mason 8. My occupation was logistics management, providing a steady income, but nothing remarkable. Prior to the kids, Claire was a paralegal, later transitioning into a stay-at-home mom. We possessed the suburban home, the golden retriever, the regular soccer matches on weekends. Appearing harmonious from the outside, signs of strain became apparent around the 18-month mark prior to our collapse. Claire's behavior shifted subtly. She was physically present, yet mentally absent. Conversations about my day would lose her interest, her eyes glazing over. Date nights were agreed upon, yet executed with a sense of obligation. I convinced myself it was due to stress, as Mason faced academic difficulties and Claire handled his tutoring schedule, while Olivia entered the preteen phase where parents' actions became mortifying. I naively believed we were simply enduring a rough stretch every long-term marriage encounters. However, I was proven incorrect. The reality began to unfold on a Tuesday in March. Reviewing our credit card statements due to rising expenses prior to summer vacation, I discovered charges at unfamiliar restaurants on days when I had been working late, hotel bills in a nearby city, and expensive spa services about which Claire appeared unsurprised. When asked, she casually mentioned they were from the women's retreat she talked about, involving school moms. Although I recalled her mentioning a wellness retreat, these charges covered 7 different weekends, seeming excessive. Upon checking our calendar, I found that on 3 of those occasions, Claire had told me she was taking the kids to visit her mother 2 hours away. Feeling unwell but delaying confrontation to verify, I suspect my survival or custody of my children depended on this caution. Indeed, Claire was meticulous. I couldn't help but notice more discrepancies as I paid closer attention. She always kept her phone close, refrained from taking dubious calls in my presence. However, she couldn't conceal everything entirely. There were the extended weekend grocery trips that lasted for hours, the unexpected fascination with evening yoga classes on 3 nights a week till 9 p.m., and the abrupt acquisition of a new phone, her explanation being that her old one had ceased functioning completely and could not be used to transfer data. Despite my reluctance, I secretly installed tracking software onto her new device. After 3 weeks, an opportunity presented itself. She left her phone charging in the kitchen while she took a shower. All I needed was 5 minutes. What I discovered sent a chill down my spine. It wasn't merely an affair she was engaged in. They had been seeing each other for over 2 years. His name was Trevor, and from their messages, he didn't appear to be a casual fling. They discussed their shared future, viewing themselves as soulmates who crossed paths at an inconvenient phase in life, expressing their loathing for living falsehoods. However, the segment that shattered me was the revelation that Trevor was married to a woman named Andrea, and they had 3 children together. In these exchanges, Claire and Trevor portrayed Andrea as an impediment rather than a person. They jestingly remarked about the ignorance of both their spouses, casually discussing how simple it was to uphold the facade. I captured every detail, amassing hundreds of messages as proof, evidence of secret rendezvous at hotels, money being transferred from our joint account into an unbeknownst separate one, plans for a reunion once they had secured advantageous divorce settlements. This last piece of information made me comprehend something horrifying. Claire wasn't merely having an affair. She was conspiring to leave me, and if I pieced it together correctly, she was plotting to execute the divorce in a manner that would leave me with nothing. In her phone, I discovered an unsent email draft suggesting she hadn't forwarded it. The recipient could have been Trevor or a legal advisor she consulted. She detailed a strategy within the text, planning to portray me as having anger issues and emotionally abusive tendencies, implying fear for herself and the children. None of these allegations were true, but I swiftly grasped her intentions. If she could depict me as unstable or threatening, she'd stand a better chance at obtaining primary custody, keeping the house, securing a substantial portion of my income and support payments, and labeling me as the family record due to my alleged inability to manage anger. However, I had never exhibited such temper because I don't possess one. I'm not a violent person. Over the 15 years of our marriage, I'd never laid a hand on Claire or anyone else. My worst transgression regarding the children was slamming a cabinet door out of frustration over a work deadline. I recognized that allegations alone could be destructive in family court. Even if proven untrue eventually, the damage would still persist. I couldn't let this occur, so I contacted a lawyer the following day. Not just any lawyer, but Jennifer Hartwell, a family attorney endorsed by a colleague who had survived a grueling divorce. I disclosed everything to her: the affair, the tracking software, the messages, and the strategies discovered. Jennifer was straightforward. The tracking software resided in a legally ambiguous zone. We might not be able to utilize all the evidence gathered, but it provided us with a map, enabling us to anticipate and prepare. This alone was worth more than I realized. She advised me to document everything thoroughly. She instructed me to install security cameras in our house, equipped with audio in common areas, fully legal as it was my home too. She also suggested I start keeping a detailed journal of every interaction with Claire, every moment with my children, and every financial transaction. Jennifer declared that if you're going to be accused of instability, we will amass proof demonstrating your stability, involvement, and fatherly love. For 3 months, I led a secret life. I maintained the facade of normality with Claire, attending work, returning home for family dinners, assisting Olivia with her science project, managing Mason's Little League team. Every night, I painstakingly recorded every detail. Additionally, I tracked down Andrea, Trevor's wife. Since Claire had mentioned Trevor's last name in messages, and from contextual hints, I deduced that he worked in pharmaceutical sales. LinkedIn provided the necessary information about his company, which led me to his Facebook page, though it was locked. However, Andrea's profile was public, filled with family photos of her, Trevor, and their 3 children at soccer games, birthday parties, beach vacations, all unaware. In every post she made, her smiling face suggested a content marriage. I grappled with the decision to inform her. It seemed harsh to shatter her tranquility. However, Jennifer's words resonated. If this matter reaches court, and Claire might use Trevor as a witness, or if his involvement becomes relevant, you require some bargaining power. Andrea's testimony about Trevor's infidelity could be pivotal. She deserves to know the reality, and you deserve all the resources when Claire confronts you. Therefore, I messaged Andrea, straight to the point. Though we've never met, I'm married to someone your husband has been having an affair with for 2 years. I have evidence. We need to discuss this. At first, she was skeptical, wouldn't you be? A stranger on Facebook accusing your spouse of infidelity. I shared some screenshots with her, not anything explicit. Merely evidence of Trevor and Claire frequently communicating in a way that married individuals should not to someone who isn't their spouse. We met at a coffee shop 3 days later, where Andrea appeared fatigued, as if she hadn't slept since my message. I had printouts of the messages, photos, and hotel charge records to support my claims, which caused her to cry. Then she became angry. Later, she grew calculating. He's been telling me he was on business trips, she whispered. Meaning all those weekends, I've been managing our 3 children alone while he was with her. I apologize, I said sincerely, and I meant it. Andrea looked at me with bloodshot eyes. What can you do for me? Frankly, I'm not sure yet, she replied. My wife is planning to divorce me and accuse me of abuse in order to gain custody of our children. In all honesty, it's deceit, yet I must prepare for any eventuality. If Trevor gets involved in this, if she attempts to include him in the court proceedings, I might need you to testify about our affair. Andrea nodded slowly in agreement. I will do so, but I have a condition as well. I want a divorce filing first. I wish to surprise him as he surprised me. Additionally, I expect you to send me all evidence you possess concerning Trevor and Claire. We shook hands. Now we were partners, 2 wrong spouses with a mutual adversary. As predicted, she filed for divorce 6 weeks later. Exactly as expected, her petition contained allegations of emotional abuse, claims that I'd created an unpleasant environment, and demands for primary physical custody with Supervised visitation for me. It was a blow to see it written down. Nevertheless, I knew it was coming, so my lawyer promptly filed our response, denying every claim and requesting a full custody evaluation. We too submitted for temporary orders, keeping the current situation unchanged until the court resolved matters, granting joint custody of the children and equal access to all accounts. The preliminary hearing was scheduled for late August. It was then that things became intriguing. Claire arrived at court with her attorney and Trevor. He remained in the audience behind her, and during breaks I noticed him placing his hand on her shoulder while whispering words of encouragement into her ear. He was there to support her, playing the role of the concerned boyfriend who wanted to shield her from the alleged abuse by me. It was a daring gesture. She seemed to be openly displaying the affair, possibly due to legal advice suggesting that infidelity has little impact in no-fault divorce states. However, she was correct that the affair wouldn't result in loss of custody, but what she didn't realize was that Trevor's presence gave me an opportunity. During a recess, Jennifer whispered, "He's here." "I see that. This is your signal. If they intend to intervene in these proceedings, we can certainly summon him as a witness. And if we do, we can summon anyone with pertinent information regarding his character and reliability." I agreed. The actual custody hearing was set for 3 weeks henceforth. In the interim, my lawyer submitted a list of potential witnesses. Claire's name appeared on it, along with Trevor's and Andrea's. Claire's attorney contacted my legal representative promptly. "Why are you contacting Trevor's spouse? She holds no relevance to this case." Trevor, however, has made himself relevant by attending proceedings and offering emotional support to Ms. Claire. Given his presence in her life and potential role in the children's lives, we consider his character and credibility pertinent to the court's custody decision, and his wife might possess relevant information on both aspects. They attempted to resist the subpoena. The defense asserted the accusations were unimportant. However, the judge disagreed. The judge stated, "If Mr. Trevor will be a part of these children's lives following the divorce, the court needs insight into his character." Thus, the subpoena was upheld. Claire's face displayed sheer terror upon hearing this. Routine matters, such as financial disclosures and parenting time schedules, started the hearing, but then came the allegations. Claire's attorney called her to testify about years of emotional abuse, which she described in detail. Although these allegations were false, she was convincing. She cried at opportune moments, and during her testimony, she looked at the judge with injured, exposed eyes. Then it was my lawyer's turn for cross-examination. "Ms. Claire, you claim to have felt controlled and isolated, yet bank records indicate that you had full access to all joint accounts, don't they?" "Yes, you also socialized with friends, attended school events, and took weekend trips, didn't you? However, it turns out that you made quite a few weekend getaways during the past 18 months, according to your credit card statements." Claire hesitated. "Were those wellness retreats?" "Indeed. 3 of those weekends, you told your husband you were taking the children to visit your mother. Were the children present at these retreats?" "At times, I sought solitude, and my mother cared for them." "So, it appears that you misled your husband about your whereabouts." Claire's attorney objected, but the judge permitted it. The impression was set. Claire was a liar. Then Jennifer summoned me to testify. I recounted being an engaged father involved in coaching Little League, helping with homework, preparing breakfast. Every day, I presented my journal, records, and security camera footage from our home to the court, depicting ordinary family meals, me assisting children with schoolwork, calm discussions between Claire and me regarding household matters, none of which suggested abuse. The footage showcased an unremarkable family life, but the critical moment occurred following lunchtime. "Your Honor," Jennifer stated, "we intend to summon Andrea Patterson." Claire's complexion paled, and Trevor, seated in the gallery, abruptly rose and exited the courtroom. Andrea entered 7 months pregnant, her pregnancy noticeable even beneath the modest dress she chose. She took the oath on the Bible. "Ms. Patterson," Jennifer initiated, "are you familiar with the defendant Claire Mitchell?" "I am aware of her, but we have not met personally." "How do you know of her?" Jennifer explained to Andrea the 2-year-long affair between her husband, Trevor, and Claire. The courtroom fell quiet as she detailed her discovery of the infidelity. When asked how she knew, Jennifer revealed that she'd been presented with evidence, text messages, financial records, and hotel receipts, by Mr. Mitchell. Confronting Trevor himself led to his admission. The texts between Claire and Trevor discussed their future, meetings concealed from their spouses. Money hidden in a separate account, which Trevor had contributed to, indicated their plans for the future together. The most heart-wrenching revelation was that Trevor had spoken about Claire to Jennifer after she confronted him about the affair, explaining that Claire intended to divorce her husband and accuse him of abuse. Trevor stated that Claire informed him the most effective approach to secure full custody and a larger financial settlement was the one they should adopt, although he felt remorseful about it. However, Claire persuaded him it was essential. Claire's lawyer vehemently protested. "This is double hearsay." The judge upheld the objection, but the harm had already been inflicted. The judge overheard that Claire intended to fabricate accusations. Though this testimony couldn't be utilized as direct evidence of this act, it supported what my existing evidence indicated. Following Andrea's testimony, the trial dragged on for an additional 2 hours, yet the outcome was apparent. The judge rejected Claire's abuse claims. How could she, when confronted with proof that those accusations were premeditated as a legal maneuver? 3 weeks later, the judge rendered her judgment. Shared legal custody, where I am granted primary physical custody during the school year, and Claire has extended time during summers and holidays. The judge emphasized Claire's questionable credibility regarding key facts of the marriage as a decisive factor in this arrangement. Essentially, I obtained partial custody over my children. Despite not having full custody, I successfully protected my reputation from baseless accusations. Unfortunately, Claire and Trevor's relationship ended, disintegrating once their supposed affair was revealed to be an illusion, and they could no longer maintain the victim facade. As of now, it is said that Trevor relocated to another state and is making substantial child support payments to Andrea. Andrea and I occasionally communicate, not in a friendly manner, but as individuals who have endured betrayal and fought for justice. She's thriving, having given birth to a healthy daughter. There are times when people ask if I feel remorseful about the situation, but I am focused on moving forward. Claire opted to carry out her affair, lie, and orchestrate a plan to damage my relationship with my children using baseless accusations. The repercussions she experienced were directly due to her own decisions. I didn't instigate this situation. Instead, I refused to be its victim. My kids are coping well. Therapy has been beneficial. They comprehend that people sometimes make mistakes, even parents. We avoid speaking negatively about Claire in their presence. Jennifer made it clear that courts dislike parental alienation, and it's not beneficial for children. However, they understand the truth in an age-appropriate manner. They recognize that I fought for them. Reflecting on it now, the instant Andrea entered the courtroom pregnant, the second she took the stand and swore to tell the truth, that was when I realized justice indeed exists. In Claire's case, it wasn't retribution that triumphed, but the truth itself. The truth, supported by evidence, corroborated by witnesses, and meticulously documented. If you find yourself in a similar situation where someone slanders you with fabricated accusations, my counsel is to document everything systematically. Remain composed. Construct your argument methodically. Identify your supporters. And when the time arrives, don't hesitate to summon them as witnesses. For truth is a potent weapon, and in skilled hands at the opportune moment, it can obliterate years of deceit with a single testimony. Here's a glimpse into the realm of cheating stories. This is what unfolds when carefully orchestrated deception encounters meticulously prepared justice.